Hello, my speech today is going to be about foreign aid and child refugees in the UK. I'll start now. I don't normally agree in divine intervention. That is to say, I don't normally agree with prominent religious figures intervening in politics. But the former Archbishop of Canterbury, Rowan Williams, has got it right on two accounts: foreign aid and child refugees. Although religious figures in the UK intervene rarely in politics, or rather are rarely asked for their opinion, Rowan Williams has publicly spoken out on three issues in the past year where he feels that we are risking social or moral injustice. It is perhaps an indication of the state of affairs. The UK government under David Cameron committed to spending 0.7% of its gross national income on foreign aid. This was a figure outlined by the United Nations in its Millennium Development Goals in 2000, and that countries are only now starting to meet. Since then, foreign aid has been lambasted by the British media and members of the Conservative Party. The commitment to spend 0.7% on foreign aid is now legally enshrined in British law. But last year it was rumoured that the party would drop their commitments. It is only in the past few weeks that Theresa May has ruled out cutting the foreign aid budget. Before that, she was clearly avoiding the question. This doesn't mean, however, that she or members of the Conservative Party like foreign aid, as one member of the Conservative Party made clear when he compared foreign aid to handing out the dole. Right-wing tabloids are particularly vicious in their criticisms of foreign aid, with The Sun, as you can imagine, running several headlines. These newspapers, may I remind you, are the ones that forwarded Brexit as the solution to the funding crisis in the NHS, which turned out, by the way, to be a complete and utter lie. Now these newspapers are suggesting cutting the foreign aid budget as a solution to funding the NHS, despite the fact that this budget is only a very small percentage of the amount needed to save the NHS. Personally, I find talk of getting rid of foreign aid as though it were some kind of unnecessary tax particularly hard to swallow. Rowan Williams has said that we should be proud of our commitment to supporting the world's most vulnerable people, and we should not consider it to be a political football. I have to say that I agree. Secondly, Rowan Williams intervened on a subject that was overshadowed by the referendum on European Union membership last June, accepting more child refugees. Not only did the government fail to fulfil its promise to welcome more child refugees, but its arm had to be twisted by lengthy petitions and the intervention of a famous child refugee, Lord Dubs. Lord Dubs, by the way, is a member of the House of Lords and came over to the UK on the Kinder transport during World War II. It is deeply shaming that the government has ended its commitment to provide safety for 3,000 child refugees after only accepting 350 of them. This contrasts sharply with the UK government's response to the last major refugee crisis on its doorstep, the dissolution of Yugoslavia. Then, the government accepted hundreds and thousands of refugees. Needless to say, these children are vulnerable to human trafficking and the most vulnerable victims of the migrant crisis. And I'm sure that that is a prospect that none of us could bear to imagine. So in conclusion, Rowan Williams' interventions come at a time when refugees, foreigners, the destitute in other countries are increasingly seen as a threat. The rise of populism has been characterised by a rise in hate and a rise in politics motivated by fear. Although I do not believe that the lines between public and private, church and state should be blurred, I do believe that a counter-narrative is necessary, and I do believe that people should be speaking up. It is all too easy to close in on ourselves in times of insecurity and financial instability. But what might remind us that there still is hope left in the world is helping our neighbours and accepting help from them. I think that too many people forget that in the parable of the Good Samaritan was actually a foreigner. Thank you.